Hello and welcome to this backwards compatible Why Should I? Today we're going to be taking a slightly different tact as we look into the new Destiny beta. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome you to Why Should I Be Excited About Destiny? Tonight I'm joined by John.
Hi there.
Steph.
Hi.
And Matt.
Hello.
Now they've all been playing the Destiny alpha.
Except you.
Yes, everybody except me because I don't have a PlayStation 4. Now this is something obviously that I think we will get into a little bit later in the fact that, why is this only on PlayStation 4 and why is it not coming to PC? Bungie, we don't like you. Or I don't like you, I should say. But basically what we do is find out whether this game is worth getting excited about, whether the alpha fulfills some of the hype or whether it just seems like another game which has been blown out of all proportion. So, gents, did you all get in straight away?
Yeah, pretty much, yep.
And was it a game that you were looking forward to before they announced it at E3?
Yes, definitely.
The beta, for E3, sorry, I should say.
Not particularly.
Oh, that's interesting.
Why is that, Matt?
I was worried it would turn into Brink. So I was worried that it would, have a lot there, but not enough to keep it interesting and keep people sort of playing. I've played a few sort of MMOs in the same sort of style, I guess. I played Dust 514, played Brink before. I played a few, there was one that came out on PlayStation last year. It was based on a sci-fi TV series.
Oh, Defiance.
Yep.
I played that in beta as well.
Was that any good?
No, not at all.
Well, it's supposed to be better now, and it has gone free to play on PC, so that does tell you something about it.
But I found that the games, they ended up being a grind fest. When I played Defiance, I spent a good 3 or 4 hours, and by the end of it I had a headache because all I heard was the heavy machine gun going off for 4 straight hours because there wasn't a lot to do besides firing at enemies. There was no real pacing to it. It was pretty much just point at things and shoot at them. So
you haven't had the best of experiences with this type of game?
Yeah, previously not. So I wasn't really looking forward to it, but I thought I'd give it a shot when the alpha became available, and it sort of won me over.
Cool. And Steph, sorry, did you get?
Yeah.
Steph, you got in straight away, yeah?
Yeah.
And then your expectations, Destiny?
Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, it's been. I was really excited. I've been keeping an ear out and looking forward to playing Destiny for a while now. So as soon as they sort of announced the alpha, I was straight in there. Sort of logged in my details and anticipated a code to get in, and I was pretty much about 10-20 minutes behind John. But yeah, no, I think it's pretty cool.
I was quite impressed how quickly we got in. Actually, I thought I missed it completely.
Yeah.
A lot of people have, unfortunately. They had a limited time, and then everyone signed up, and that was it. I think they had to limit. They had a quota to fulfil, along with all the codes that have been handed out since. But they're still handing them out tonight as well. I saw on Twitter.
Wow.
But is it not ending tonight though? Or finishing tonight, I think.
I think it finishes at midnight tonight. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
There were a lot of people who were struggling to download it at the beginning.
Right.
I think. So, did you guys? How long did it take you to get it down off the servers?
It took me about 32 minutes for nearly 7 gigs of data.
Oh,
Yeah, that was less than an hour.
There was quite a few people. Maybe it was just the rush times, but they were saying that they were taking 6 or 7 hours to get it down. So, but maybe that's just obviously, that doesn't seem to be something about the server. Then that might just be their internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it could be loads of things, like you say. It could be the time they downloaded it. I was later because I came back from work and did it rather than the second I got the email. And I find when I'm downloading Apple updates, it's best to leave it 24 hours. And the bandwidth is a bit better then. But very exciting. We were all very excited. And this is the first time I've actually socially networked the photograph of me downloading something. Maybe to annoy you, Paul.
No, I did that for Last of Us. It wasn't you. That's right. So we start off with the basics, obviously. So can you describe what the game is in a nutshell, what the general basis of the game is in a nutshell?
It's an open world explorable first-person and third-person shooter with kind of it's an RPG, much like Mass Effect with upgradability, but it's kind of the clever thing behind it is it builds this universe, this believable universe at every level of the gameplay, and so everything fits together really well. Does that make sense, Matt? Steph?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
totally agree, man. I feel that like the way that they've made the world around you, even in the alpha, there's not a lot there, but it sort of makes you want to dig deeper and sort of get more into it.
Yeah, essentially a sneak peek.
Yeah.
One thing, I mean, Steph and I played quite a lot together. Once we downloaded it at the same time, we hooked up, and it's much like Borderlands. It's definitely a more enjoyable game playing in what they call fire teams. So you get, I think it's a maximum of 3 at the moment. I've not seen more than 3 people. And much like Borderlands, obviously the enemies that you encounter are leveled up, so you're always being challenged the same amount. But it's just exploring, because there's no linear line. Although you get given objectives, there's no one way to go somewhere. And so it's the fun of exploring an unknown place together, and dealing with the threats that come along, and problem solving and communicating in a way that you don't do in fast-paced online shooters like you do with Call of Duty as such.
So you mentioned Borderlands there, and one thing that was on the original video we saw last year was the trying to find different weapons. So is there looting involved?
Yeah, there's certainly crates to find, and I think we were picking up a lot of what were they called again?
There's the currency in there is called Glimmer,
Yeah, but
which are like little rocks, aren't they?
The schematics.
Oh, they're
we were
called.
picking up for
They're called arcane. Are they called arcane plans or something?
Something like that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's probably.
weapons.
I think the way that the weapons work, that's probably one of my favorite things about it, because you not only do the weapons have their own statistics, the more you use a certain weapon, you unlock certain abilities or sort of skills that weapon has. At the moment, it doesn't really tell you, other than having a visual, so you get a little wheel that sort of circulates around the weapon itself. It doesn't really tell you what that counter is, but I'm guessing it's bodies. Like, I'm guessing it's
what?
your bodies. Like
Body count.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But I'm not too sure. Like, it's that little green green.
Oh
bag.
yeah.
Oh, that symbol. I think that's XP, because I've stopped getting it now. I've leveled out.
Okay. Cool.
Because you've got these you've got XP, which is what levels your character up and allows you to go from level 1 to 2. Obviously, that's self-explanatory. You've got Glimmer, which is the currency that lets you upgrade and buy things, and then you also get Grimoire cards, don't you, as well?
Yeah.
Which I'm not.
Check.
Well, I've checked Bungie.net. You have to go into the site for that stuff, and then they're kind of like, they're a bit like collectible fact cards about the universe. So it opens up, it creates this sort of encyclopedia Destinatanica or something about all the lore. I don't know what advantage there is for having them as such.
I was kind of hoping for like unlockables for, I don't know, I guess maybe not in the beta, but toward the full game. But then I guess we can't really be expecting our progress or any of that sort of stuff to carry over.
It's not going to. I contacted Bungie about carryover, and they say it's definitely not carrying over from the alpha to the beta.
Right.
They were a bit more cagey about from the beta to the full game. So that remains to be seen, really. We'll see how that works out.
I think that's kind of fair, especially with this sort of multiplayer aspect.
Yeah.
Sorry, Matt, you were saying?
No, and it's just interesting the way that you can collect items in the sort of hub world that you have there. You can store the items, so I'm wondering whether that will.
Oh, I see. Yeah, there are vaults like in Borderlands 2, Paul. You can store your. If you have a limited number of slots, you can store your weapons in, because you can change weapons mid-game like you can in Borderlands 2.
And how many do you carry?
Loads, aren't there? Loads you can carry.
Yeah.
As in like a one button press to change.
Oh, we've maxed up to about 3 at the moment, haven't we, guys?
Yeah, I think I've got 3 on my character, but then you can go into the options like mid-game and
Swap them round.
So is it like an assault rifle and then a heavy weapon and then the sidearm, or is it anything?
It's a bit. You get a primary weapon, a special weapon, and a heavy weapon, and they're kind of interchangeable. And you could go out with a handgun, shotgun, and a rocket launcher. Or you could go out with a assault rifle, a sniper gun, and a LMG as well. So there's a lot of flexibility there, isn't there?
Yeah.
Because that's obviously something that can always be annoying, is when you're only when you're boxed into taking certain weapons, sort of a la Battlefield and COD.
You mean you're limited to that life?
Yeah. Oh no, you're limited to having one primary, one secondary, one special weapon, if that makes sense. Well, it's quite nice to be able to mix and match depending on what you fancy, because I quite like going out all pistols blazing sometimes. It's quite fun. So, now you said before about the world. Do you feel that this is going to be something that could actually become books, if that makes sense?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Would that make you more interested, or not really bothered?
I'm not really bothered about books, to be honest.
I'd like to see a comic of Destiny. I mean, the visuals are so striking. I think a comic would be excellent.
Yeah, I was going to say that, man. I think it looked good as a comic. I read some of the Mass Effect books, and they tell the stories of some of the things that you sort of experience and they sort of talk about in the game, but you haven't actually played through. So it would be interesting whether they use the books to sort of build the prequel or something like that on the game itself. So.
They probably will do. They missed the opportunity if otherwise.
Yeah.
I mean, this could be I don't know if I'm jumping the gun here, but this could be a franchise as big as Star Wars.
Yeah. I mean, we only that was the small glimpse of the world. I mean, that was only one world. Well, we only saw like the Earth, really, and I'm pretty sure there's many more planets that will be flying.
If you look at I've looked through some of the media. If you download the Bungie app, which kind of links up with your account on Bungie.net, it's not complete usability, but within there you can download screenshots, and there's screenshots on Venus, there's screenshots on Mars,
I've
seen screenshots on the moon.
The whole time we've been talking about Destiny.
Yeah, I mean that does lead us nicely into what's actually where. So you're on Earth, basically. Is it a recognisable section of Earth, or is it just generic?
It's Russia in the future.
Yeah, I mean,
is there any landmarks which would be, like the old Planet of the Apes, Statue of Liberty?
The level we played in, with Steph and I played in, there were lots of, we remarked on this, didn't we, Steph, about how remarkable it was to see the sci-fi landscapes alongside, and it is still Earth we're on, but the sci-fi landscapes alongside rusty old Russian helicopters and cars. Yeah, and tanks. So
there is that feeling that it is Earth.
Well, it's Earth after it's been attacked and almost the species wiped out. So yeah, you've got visual hooks around that are of a time before the Fallen arrived.
So how many missions have you boys been able to access?
Well, there was there's only like one story mission really, and then afterwards you got you can basically go and explore the same sort of area, and then I think there's various missions dotted around the place. I think they're different every time you play it.
They are, yeah.
Or in a different order every time you play it. So it is a bit random. And I think you can actually go quite far doing the different little missions. But I think yesterday I thought I'd try and capture footage of the areas, and I basically just jumped on my Sparrow, which is essentially like a speeder bike, and just flew around the world as far as I could, and I actually couldn't get any further than the point that me and John got up to the other night.
Was that the Elder Vanguard thing that killed him? We tried to kill that guy, you mean?
Yeah, but there's actually a bit where you go around the corner and there's some enemies there which they're impossible to fight, or maybe we hadn't unlocked the mission to battle them yet.
Right.
But I went around the back there, and there's actually a whole alien hive thing going on.
Oh wow.
but I couldn't progress any further from that. I mean, I was getting decimated there. It was a case of just, sort of flying in there, having a quick look, and then leaving the area.
Before you get
But it
bullied.
didn't seem, yeah, but it didn't seem to be any more access or any further a route to go after that. So, God knows. But
We played it enough, haven't we, Steph? That we were recognizing things. Like, when you play a multiplayer map long enough, you memorize the map.
yeah.
So it's big. It's really big, the area we were in. But I started that.
Oh yeah.
For instance, I found the link between the starting point of where you first appear when you drop down onto Russia, and the link to where you were just saying now, and that little sort of valley through past the Rainbow Fountain.
Yeah.
That's the link that leads around the back. So it's a circular route. You can go all the way around. And there's a lot of subterranean parts to it, tunnels and things as well, aren't there? But it felt like a lot of the when you played it enough, a lot of the construction textures had been repeated. And I think, like you say, I think they made that map almost specially for the alpha to give you a taste of it without revealing too much, or not feeling like there are boundaries you have to get to. It felt complete without invisible walls almost. Does that make sense? It's very clever design.
Yeah, I made it to the section, if you go towards the divide from the main sort of exploration area, you get to a part of the level that's just rusted out cars back to back and broken highway, and I thought that was a good way to sort of separate where I could go and where I couldn't.
So, what modes are there? Any different modes available, or is it just the plain multiplayer?
The modes? What do you mean?
As
in the multiplayer?
Yeah, I mean, will it have PvP stuff and all those sorts of ideas?
Yeah, I mean, basically. Have you played anything on Crucible yet, Steph?
No.
Have you, Matt?
Not yet. I think
it's not. I think. I was like you, Steph. I thought it was more like an MMO PvP area, and it's not. Basically, the Crucible is more like online multiplayer.
Okay.
And the modes I played 2 different maps. It's completely. You don't get to choose your maps, and it's completely random. One of the maps was set in almost like an Uncharted, the Uncharted games, like a sort of a temple in ruins, with lots of levels. So you imagine you can jump onto sort of the ruined walls because you can double jump. You've all got jetpacks in the game, so you can jump and you can upgrade your glide, so you can glide slower and land longer distances. And it was a bit like was it Killzone 2 where they had jetpacks?
Yep.
Eventually. So you had that sort of dynamic of play.
Or was it free?
But it was
it's everyone kills zones. Yeah.
You had to capture zone. So the usual things. If you stand there next to the pole, it turns into your colour. More of you there, the quicker it changes. You have to neutralise it before you can change it around. And so you've got these 3 areas, A, B, and C, which you have to capture. It's is it conquest or domination?
Is it more? Yeah. Is it domination speed? Domination is faster. Conquest is slower. Well, that makes sense. But is it more? Is it more the fast-paced change, or is it more a slow-paced change?
It's quite a slow change.
Okay, so it's more conquesty.
Yeah, and there were 2 maps, and the other map was on the moon, and the gravity was floatier, so you'd fly and land a lot quicker, a lot longer, and it had different. They weren't sparrows, but they're like tanks. They're like sparrows, but massive fronts to them with cannons that can instant kill. And it had turrets you could control as well, but it was just so quick and smooth. And you had geodetic domes with the points in, because there's no air on the moon, and that was a really attractive level. I mean, the sky, it was obviously an atmosphereless sky, so the sky looked amazing.
Two questions on that, John. Do you get to see the Earth?
What, when you look at the sky?
Yeah, I know you're generally a scenery fan.
Yeah, the Earth is in the back. It does place in the background.
Does it alter bullet trajectory?
Say that again.
Does the bullet trajectory alter?
Do you mean the Coriolis effect?
Yes.
We're getting quite deep in here, aren't we?
No. Does the bullet trajectory alter when you're firing on the moon?
Because there's less gravity. Do you mean it?
Yep.
Not noticeably, no. That's quite an interesting point. Though. I wonder if that is something to look out for.
Well, obviously because of Battlefield with bullet drop and stuff. I'm assuming that Destiny doesn't have bullet drop.
Not as far as I felt like as a better shooter. Did you feel, boys, that there was, whilst you're playing, that there was a certain smidgen of aim assist whilst you were shooting.
Yeah. Just
Was it too much, or was it just a little bit?
If I noticed it, I think it was too much. I don't know about you, how you feel.
I felt that.
Shots, which I thought was great.
Say that again, sorry?
I was just getting a lot of headshots, which I thought
Yeah,
was
me
great.
too.
It's popping heads off left, right, and center.
Because you can tell from the scores, you can tell how
Yeah.
you get like points come off them, float off them. Much like Borderlands, you get your sort of melee of points coming off as you hit them, and as you get, if you get a headshot, you get a yellow, much higher score.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a great FPS. I'm not very accurate. The fact that I could get quite a lot of headshots. Cynically, do you think they made it easier to make people more happy with the game and want to play it
I think
in the alpha?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like keyboard and mouse are more accurate than the controller base, so maybe it's to combat people, wanting to get accurate and things like that. Because I know there's a lot of people that don't play first-person shooters and things like that on PlayStation and Xbox because it doesn't support keyboard and mouse.
Although PS3 does, doesn't it?
PS4 does, but it's not built into the game, so it has to be coded into the games for them to support it.
Oh, I see, like keyboard control support. Okay.
Yeah, like I've tried keyboard and mouse on Battlefield 4 on my PlayStation. It wouldn't work, but War Thunder works perfectly with keyboard.
The one with the planes.
Yeah, and they've also got planes now.
So, obviously, the only thing about that sort of aim assist sometimes is if you get the hardcore players and it's too easy,
They don't like it.
And they'll be the ones who are making all the videos, which will also be the ones who are writing all the reports. So it can actually backfire to make it too easy.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a catch-22 on that one, I think. So obviously this game is made by Bungie. So Bungie have a reputation for quality community support. Has everyone played the Halo franchises?
Yeah.
Does that fill you with confidence, or do you just take it or leave it? As in with the community?
Yeah, no.
I think it does. Yeah.
I think the right guys, the right team, the right studio. I mean, if anyone can pull it off, it's Bungie. You know, this is essentially Borderlands meets Halo meets MMO for the first time.
Mass Effect.
Wanted in a game. Well, this is it. I think it's a strong contender, for that sort of thing. And like, it's even given. I mean, it's possibly going to give Mass Effect a run for its money. Essentially, it's everything you probably wanted to do in Mass Effect as well. Just being able to explore areas with friends online, and just shoot it up, and have that sci-fi story and space exploration behind you.
It's the first game that really has drawn me in and want to know more about the lore, about the people. You get these little sort of hints, don't you? I don't know if you explored we haven't explained this, but when you start the game, you're dropped in, but you can go into your dropship, and the dropship floats above Earth. There's a lovely animation as you're waiting, isn't it? The menu is actually...
Yeah.
And if you're in a team, you have all the ships of your team floating above in space above you in the menu. And I think if we start customizing our ships, they'll look different. Well, you can then go onto a map and choose your location. One of the locations is the tower, which is the one that they've been featuring in all the sort of advertising. And that's above Earth, and you'll see about 1 million selfies on Twitter already of people taking shots in front of the Traveller, the big globe. And it's horrible. It's a horrible analogy, but that's kind of like PlayStation Home, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if Home had been done properly.
But it's the same as every other MMO sort of hub area. It's the same.
Yeah. True.
One of those. Every one of these games needs somewhere for everyone to sort of come together and sort of upgrade their equipment and their skills and before jumping back into the fray.
Yeah.
But there's a room in there. If you explore the tower, there's one room with this sort of concentric rings all spinning around in that classic and you go up to the corner and there's a guy who I think is a representative of the Traveller, and I think it's the voice of Bill Nye, which you hear in some of the advertising as well. But he kind of hinted things that you don't quite know about yet.
Yeah.
And it just made me, it was very well written. It was cleverly hinted and it was poetic, and it got me really excited about wanting to know more about the storyline. you know. And just the very fact that you've got the Awoken as one of your characters, what does that mean? Who are the Awoken?
Yeah,
You know, they're on the side of the humans, aren't they, the Awoken?
think so.
We have the Fallen and you have the Awoken, so I'm wondering whether there's something there.
Because the Fallen are the enemy.
Yeah.
These sort of these reptilian alien creatures that you meet. But there's also, you know, there's a wiki you can look at now. I mean, you know, there's different species. You've got the Awoken, the Cabal, the Exo, the Fallen, the Hive, the humans, the Vex. There's, you know, and when we were in the exploring area, and Steph, you pointed this out, didn't you? You noticed I was just shooting anything that moved, but you noticed that when we arrived, a couple of the different species were fighting each other.
Yeah, no, they do. Yeah,
Exploring us, weren't they?
they fight amongst themselves.
And that's not something you see often see in games, really, is it? The actual the NPCs having their own battle and their own storyline that's separate to the player itself, which is really interesting.
You know, wonder if that's actually going to add to. It's going to add to the storyline, no doubt.
I'm just waiting for sides. So you have some players fighting for different factions and things like that, and turning battles against other players.
So something that that you guys have obviously thrown in lots of names like Borderlands and Halo and Mass Effect, all that, but from that bit it sounds more like an upset Federation, if that makes sense, from Star Trek.
Well, I would say Star Wars.
Or Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean, because
we don't always have to bring up Star Wars.
No, but
I'm joking.
Again, Stefan, I noticed some of the craft designs had that similar look to Star Wars. The same sort of the speeder bikes, the triangular shaped drop ships with the big thrusters that look just like the Y-wing thrusters, didn't they?
Yeah.
It was. You can see definitely there are elements of inspiration from Star Wars as well.
Yeah, I think it's more of the junkyard aesthetics.
Yeah.
Like Star Wars ships look like they've been put together in backyards rather than spaceports.
So it is definitely the rundown future.
You can. I'm guessing like all those ships they have little paragraphs underneath them, and they'll say, you know, this is the worst one, and you can upgrade from there. I'm guessing. So eventually you can get some sleek, nice ships, but the ones that we're given at the moment are sort of the junky.
You're right. There's a comment underneath that said this was in much worse condition when it was brought to us.
Yeah.
That was just the comment underneath, and you think, well, what happened to it? You know, how did it get to this state? And it's again clever little sort of showing and not telling hints about what could be going on in the universe. It's just very, very well written, very clever.
I wonder if that will add to, like, you know, you might have to upgrade your ships to reach further distances. You know, to these other planets, you might actually have to upgrade some of these ships, or
I think you're right.
Another one, maybe.
My dropship at the moment has a near star rating, so I spent more money on it, and it's got near star, so it can jump between stars.
I didn't even look at that. No way.
Yeah.
I had a look at the specs, and I realised suddenly I've got to go back in and just grind away and get some cash to improve my ship. So already I'm thinking, yeah, I want to get back and get involved and play this game again and again and again to improve everything. Yeah. So the lure of collectability, which, you know, kids with the match attacks cards at school and Pokemon cards, they're bringing that in, and perhaps the Grimoire cards have something to do with this as well. It's just, I think it's going to be geek crack, this game, to be honest.
Imagine if they went the Infinity. There's an Infinity route where you actually buy the cards and you can scan them into your game. So you buy a physical set of cards. That would be crazy.
They'd make a fortune.
Yeah, it would actually, and also if they link that then with models, what were they called? You know, figurines. Like, you know, 6-inch or 10-inch figurines. That would be crazy. Okay, so we've heard all the good stuff about this. Any problems?
I was expecting it to be an open world game, and it is open world, but there's still hubs. So you go to Earth and you've got a certain area that you can go in, and then you go to another another section of it, and instead of getting straight there, it's sort of like the islands in Tomb Raider.
So what's the speed to what's the speed from hub to game?
In terms of loading speed, you mean?
Yeah. Is it pretty quick, or is it 10 seconds?
It's quite long, isn't it? It's quite long, actually.
Well,
at the moment, there's a lot
I guess it depends.
Yeah.
It depends on how many people are playing the game or what the connection's like. I mean, sometimes it's been really quite. I mean, there were times with me and John where it did take a little bit longer, but when I was playing it by myself yesterday, it seemed to take no time at all, really.
That's interesting. And I guess it depends on who's playing it at any point, I suppose, at any one time.
Mhm.
Okay, so, but it's not horrendous.
No,
I mean, look, this is the most polished, most perfected looking alpha I've ever played.
I feel the same way.
And I've played some betas that are pretty shoddy, and this is an alpha, you know. I mean,
Compared to
the Battlefield 4 beta was pretty shoddy when it first opened up, you know, and falling through the ground, and you know, they still had issues. They still have issues now. That's a chat for another podcast, but it is just. I mean, if you don't, if they spent £500 million on this game, including the advertising budget, £500 million, and this beta, this alpha, is one of the best adverts for a game I've ever seen. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I mean, the fact that we've got hundreds of people tweeting selfies of themselves, all in the same spot, pretty much.
Guilty.
All sitting with their back to the traveller. We've all done it, and that in itself is amazing. The Destiny selfies hashtag was trending yesterday on Twitter.
Yeah, it's Bungie are like rewarding players with loot from the Bungie store by sharing their faves, their selfie faves.
Very clever marketing.
Yeah,
That would be
hence
quite
I
good.
participated myself.
Yeah.
So, any other problems that people noticed?
Nope.
Nothing particular.
Not
Like,
really, no.
yeah,
Wall glitches or those sorts of things.
Oh, I'll tell you one thing I did spot. I did spot one little glitch, which I've actually captured. I can probably put at some point in this podcast. I'll make it put it in the feed. Is in the shipyard in the tower. There's some cleaning droids sort of peppering the corridors that walk past you and say, "Thank you, God. Thank you for looking after us, Warlock," or "Thank you, Guardian, for your work." And I walked through one. I actually stood inside the bot, and he was sort of clipping with me. So some of the NPCs you can walk and stand inside, which is
that's not.
it's minor glitch.
Yeah, I mean that's just obviously, but there's nothing that's going to break in a game or anything.
No.
other than like, there's some times when the AI doesn't respond to you or things like that, but that's just alpha.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And open world games, big games, will sometimes do that. So.
There's a couple of physics things that I found as well. The spindles that go out from the observatory platform that you see in all the selfies that faces the traveller. The dropships sort of couple up and land there. If you walk out onto one of the spindles and then sit your character down, they can actually sit floating on air, a bit like Wile E. Coyote before he drops to the ground in the cartoons.
That's
but
quite
again, that's just...
Oh no, it's not a problem. But again,
to create the animation around that spindle specifically would be too much, and it's just it's minor little things like that which I'm sure.
Yeah.
Stops,
So, you're gonna wrap this up in a way. So John, I assume that means you're purchasing it.
I pre-ordered this back in October last year.
Okay.
And this is just confirmed. My purchasing decision was the best thing I did, so I'm very happy boy.
So Matt, you were the one who was a little bit unsure at the beginning. Is this done enough to convince you to buy it?
I think so. Like, I wasn't gonna buy it. Like, there was no purchase for me. But what I've played so far it's sort of given me hope, and I'm glad I have my PlayStation now.
Okay. Yes, rub it in. And Steph, yourself?
I think I played it as much as I could yesterday. But yes, I have the game on pre-order. Have had it since October, really.
Is that Xbox or PlayStation stuff?
Yeah, no, it's for the Xbox One. Just because I've got a lot of friends I play with on Xbox Live. But though this was the first. I think it's the first big opportunity for me to experience multiplayer on the PlayStation Network. Because I don't play my PlayStation that much. But thanks to the Destiny Alpha, I did sort of try it out, and yeah, it wasn't too bad. Yeah, I need a better headset than that single earphone thing that you get free though.
Yeah, you having a few problems with that, weren't you?
Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward. I can't wait to get online on Xbox Live with it, and being a say with some of my my close friends who I normally sort of do co-op with. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
Would the allure of special exclusive missions and stuff, would that be enough to drag you over to PlayStation, or would it need to be something bigger?
Well, for all the games that I've purchased in the past with that sort of DLC exclusive stuff, it's never really swayed my choice really.
There's going to be so much to do in the game, Steph. I can't see why an extra couple of missions will really be. It'll just be a drop in the ocean, really.
Yeah, and eventually it all becomes. Eventually, they might even just, like most things, they end up unlocking it for the across all the platforms anyway, or you can just purchase it. So, without, I don't see it being a problem. Really.
So the last question, and I'll make it also thing. Would you consider this the next gen system seller?
Yes.
Yeah, I think all the Halo guys are if they haven't upgraded already, they might consider Destiny to be the next big Halo.
I think you're right there, man. Like, there's not really been a bundle system, like a system bundle that's sort of done it for me. Like, there's like the Watch Dogs bundle, and they had the Killzone bundle. I think if there's a company that manages to bundle Destiny with the console, it will sell.
Oh, they are going to already. They're bundling it with the white one, aren't they?
Yeah, the white PlayStation 4.
That's mental. That looks amazing.
With the white we could get the white headphones as well, can't you?
Yeah.
So obviously I will. This is the point where again I reach out to Bungie and say, come on, PC, please, just a little bit, because I want to play this game. Because from the sounds of everything that you guys are saying, it does sound to be unfortunately right up my alley. Oh, there we go. So I'd like to thank everyone for jumping on. You can find us at backwardscompatible.co.uk on the internet. We are at backwardscom on Twitter, and if you search in Facebook and G+, it's just backwards compatible. My Twitter tag is Wellbeing Osteo. I think Matt's there showing some lovely footage from Destiny.
That's gonna look great, Matt. Overlaid on the footage I've done for this podcast.
And Steph, your Twitter stuff.
At Fogster J.
Matt.
Matt Taylor 138.
And John.
At John PR Evans.
Anything else anyone wants to say?
Yeah, if you are listening to this on iTunes, do give us a review. We haven't got any yet so far, so the first one will get a special prize. It may be, I don't know, just some shavings from the sink, or whatever I can find in my bin. But a review would be lovely, please. Thank you.
I'm sure you could push it to a bag of Haribo, right?
Yeah, it's a good idea. Bag of Haribo. Gives you a address.
Depends where it's got to be sent to. But still, we thank everyone very much for listening, and I'd like to say good night.
Good night, guys.
Good night. Good night. Good night.
Later.